Courage and bravery are the mantras of the woman that we just interviewed on the Ignite podcast. Kelsey Wright is a force to be reckoned with. She is an entrepreneur. She is a wife. She is a mother. She's expecting a new baby. And she shares with us how her journey has shaped not only how she collaborates, but how she works together with people in relationships, both mentor and mentee. You do not want to miss this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Kara Kirsch, the founder and host of the Ignite Women in Insurance and Business podcast. Thank you so much for joining today. It is pretty warm in Omaha, Nebraska, which means it's about 35 degrees. And I am so excited today to be sitting across from a woman that inspires me and that is showing up as her authentic self all the time, that has reconnected with me in such a meaningful way. And I'm so very grateful. I'm happy to introduce Kelsey Wright.
Thanks for having me, Kara. I'm very excited for this.
I'm very excited for you to be here. And how was your drive over today?
It was good. Warm. It really was. Like, I put my coat on, and for Nebraska, I was like sweating. So.
Yeah, right. I put my coat on and then I took it off.
Yeah.
Do you have a morning routine that you kind of do with your family?
Yeah. We have two teenagers, one preteen at home, and a husband who likes to wake up early. And our morning routine is let me sleep in.
Oh.
So they let me sleep in this morning and get ready slowly, and it was fantastic.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And for everybody who can't see, of course, we're on YouTube, so you can see us, but I don't think you'll be able to see this. But Kelsey is going to be expecting a baby. When's baby coming?
In February.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer.
Super close, yeah.
What's the one thing that you've loved most about pregnancy?
Ooh. I've just really enjoyed the journey of the whole thing. Like, we went through so many losses that even when I was like super sick, I was like, bring it on. This means I'm still pregnant.
Yeah.
And when I don't feel like comfortable, I'm still excited because I can feel him moving. So I just really enjoyed like even the not so fun parts.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. I'm so glad. Well, today we're going to get into some conversation just about your career, your personal background, why you said yes to come today, some of the things you've learned through your career and education. I mean, talk about esteemed. You have an esteemed education and career and have so much greatness to offer all of our listeners and me. I'm so grateful. But talk a little bit about you, the person. Where did you come from other than your mother?
Yes. So I grew up on a farm in Nebraska. And not a lot of people know, like, looking at me in Plattsmouth.
Oh, yeah.
Well, out technically Cass County.
Okay.
If we want to get really specific.
Yeah, we do.
So close enough to the metro to have, like, all of the opportunities that Omaha had to offer, but then also still doing chores in the morning or the evening. So it's a great opportunity to have those, like, humble beginnings.
Did you have animals or fields or both?
Both.
What kind of animals?
We had cows at one point that actually got out and made the front page of the local newspaper and had to be tased because they were obstructing traffic on Main Street. So, animals and fields, that's where I started. And then from there, I just started to explore really what I wanted to do. When I was a little girl, I knew I wanted to become a dancer and a doctor. I was always super clear on that. Even when people would say, well, do you want to be a nurse? I would say, nope, I want to be the doctor. And then I also always wanted to be Catholic. I did not grow up Catholic. But when I went to my niece's first communion, I asked my mom for her camera at the time, her digital camera. And she said, well, you can't see Madison. There's no point in taking a photo. I said, I'm going to go take a picture of Jesus on the cross. That's why we're here. So it's interesting how those core things as a little girl have, as you know, transitioned into something definitely unique. Not exactly what I thought they would be, but very similar as a woman and in my professional journey.
Yes, I love that. And tell us about your education. Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at Nebraska Wesleyan in Lincoln.
Woo woo.
Yeah, it was great. I thought I wanted to be a physician until my last year when I realized that I want to help the people helping the people. I don't have to be the one at the center of the care with the patient, but I definitely want to take the lead, and I feel called to own the responsibility of it. So I didn't want to shy away from that. So after coordinating the first lung cancer screening program in the state that was globally recognized, I realized I like the patient care, I like the operations and leadership. So I went and got my MBA at Creighton, changed my whole life. And I didn't want to leave, so I went and got my doctoral degree there, which was amazing because in the first semester, I actually went to the Mass of the Holy Spirit, and I was a lector. They would allow you to be a lector if you're baptized Christian, even if you weren't Catholic.
Is it St. John's?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And so that was my first introduction into.
Wow, that's so amazing that they'll let you be a lector if you're not Catholic.
Yes.
That is so amazing. So I think I told you this I think we saw each other right when I came back from Kansas City, and I told you about that mass I went to there.
Yes.
So I was in Kansas City for the weekend, and we were staying in the plaza. And so I just Googled Catholic churches close to where I was. And I went to this church, and it was a full-on Latin chanted mass. And I was blown away. A friend of mine said, well, did you know what to do? I said, well, I knew where we were in the mass because Catholicism is so rooted in tradition that the mass is similar, but the sermon was in English. And one of the things about the church, well, there were several things, but I'll tell you two of them. When I walked up to mass, everyone was dressed up. The women were in nylons and dresses, and the men were wearing suit and tie, and the little kids were dressed up. And so I was like, oh, here I am in my Lululemon leggings and my North Face coat. Not a good idea. But I thought, God said, come as you are.
Yes.
So I went anyway. But, and it was clear I did not fit in. The second thing was that it was all a cappella because there wasn't an organ. And during the sermon, he said, we don't need no organ. And so their organ must have been broken.
Sure.
And so they proceeded on as if there was no problem. And the last part of it that was so special to me was when you went for communion, they had these kneelers. They weren't benches, they were kneelers, and they were covered in red velvet. Mm-hmm. And when you walked up to the front, there were no Eucharistic ministers. It was the two priests, and everybody got from them. So communion took longer because everyone had to walk up, kneel on the kneelers, wait for their time, and then, go back to your seat. And it was awesome. It was the most amazing. And I have had meaningful time in Catholic churches like that. And so I too love being a Catholic. Yes. And especially now, one of the goals I have for next year, which you and I've talked about, is to be a religious education teacher.
Yes.
But I don't want to teach. Let me be clear for all my listeners. I don't want to do sacrament preparation. I do not want to be with people for First Holy Communion, and I do not that I don't want to be with them. I just don't want to do that, and I also don't want to work on confirmation. So everything in the middle, yeah. I'm 3rd, 4th grade. I'm with kids who know that they have to use the restroom and that they might throw up. And so then I don't have to deal with those things. But that is one very common piece of ground that we have is our love for Catholicism. And, I love seeing it in you. And it was my whole life. I was raised in Catholicism and all of the traditions. And so I love that. Creighton, I dreamed to go to Creighton, but when I applied to college, my parents didn't go to college. And so I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. And Creighton seemed so far out of my league because I just didn't know. And so looking back, it's always been in my mind, maybe I should get my MBA or something like that. But Creighton, I just love it there. I love the campus. My new co-working space for the Kirsch group is by there. I love that. The vibe is so energetic, and I love the students.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's another thing we have in common. I have a estranged relationship from all of my parents, my step-parents and my biological parents. But my dad went to college, but I wasn't raised by him. And my mom and stepdad did not go to college. So I was almost like in the same boat as you. Like, how do you fill out the FAFSA? Where do you apply? Everything felt so large. And I don't remember exactly, but I remember not picking Creighton as an undergrad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew I didn't want to go there for some reason, but then it just kind of came back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love, though, to your point, how we can be two women that met in a professional setting that can speak so openly about our faith and how it impacts our lives. Because, and I'm sure we'll get into this, the journey I've been on this year. And rewind to last year, I probably wouldn't have been as open about it as I am now. But
Yeah.
I want people to know it's who I am. And I also want people to know if you need to talk about it, we can. Whether it's you love being Catholic or you had a bad experience, because I've had my share of bad experiences with certain parishes. Or it's like, hey, I don't know, I just kind of want to explore it a little bit. I just want people to know that they have in us an example of you can be fully fulfilled in your faith and show up with it in your professional persona as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. And in fact, on November 10th, when I lost my job, that day I had a conversation with a really good friend of mine who is also Catholic. And she was like, I knew what the plan was, but the plan still to this day has always been something that scares me. And as an entrepreneur now, launching the Kirsch Group, which will go full speed on January 19th, I still am nervous. And I say nervous because she made me promise this. Fear is not faith. And she said, when you are afraid, you need to have faith. And I'm like, you're right. And so I've stopped saying I'm afraid. I've stopped saying I'm scared. I have said terrified once, but you know what I mean? I've really tried to be intentional about the feeling I have about the unknown of the future and my own ability to create success. And everyone who knows me is like, I have no idea why you would feel any of those, because from what I'm seeing, you've always managed to move through it. And so it's going to be what it is. Talk to me a little bit about your career journey.
Yeah, so I started out in patient care at a local health system in Omaha. And, rewind before that, I actually was what they called an office auxiliary in a dental office. I did like everything. I created molds, I changed like the rubber bands on braces, I cleaned the office, I assisted, I took it from a paper chart to electronic medical record. That's how I started working. Then I moved over to the health system, and from there I did a lot of patient care, quality work. And one thing that I always figured out as I've been reflecting in the last year is I've had this weird bit of courage that even I don't realize is there, but is so very vitally important to who I am as a person in all aspects of my life. So I had the courage to take on my last role, which was something I didn't have a whole depth and breadth of experience in. Within like healthcare finance. I was more on the other side of things. Was it scary? Yes. Was there terrifying moments? Totally. But no one else was doing it. So, I might as well show up for it. I too lost my job in February. So that's been a really interesting transition. But I think God called us to do something different.
Mm-hmm. And even I was, we reconnected was it February or was it the summer?
It was. You were like one of the first people I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I gotta talk to Kara.
We knew each other.
Yes.
Yeah, we were fine. You have come to Ignite before.
Totally. Yeah. I came to Ignite. I don't know if I took it out of my handbag or not, but I even brought like a letter that you had wrote me after we had gotten breakfast once. But I brought the very first, it was like a vision boarding session we did at my very first Ignite conference.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, and it's like truly incredible to have gone through something so difficult, which we can unpack a little bit more because I think it's important to who I am and just how, like, again, how we reconnected. However, I brought this and I was almost late, but it was totally worth it because even down to the cat on this, which I wouldn't have called myself a cat person in 2018, 2019, whenever we were at the conference together. The cat on here looks identical to my 3 cats now on this vision board. And as I go through other things, I created a garden. I became Catholic. There's a cross on here. Just so many. I went to the mountains for the first time since this was created. There's these kids soaking up the sun and just blowing bubbles. Now I have 3 beautiful stepkids in my life. A couple for marriage, a new house. So many things that just came together on this. And as I was driving here and reflecting on it, I was thinking how sad that our life is so curated by social media algorithms right now, because I would give anything to go back to that hour-long session of literally just letting it all go, taking anything creatively that came to me and putting on the paper. And then this came with me through 3 house moves and so much life to pull it back out again and go, holy cow, look at where you've come, where you were. And that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for you and the Ignite conference.
Well, you're so sweet. But I agree. I think one of the things that made Ignite sort of fired me up to create Ignite was a place for women to come in our industry first. And now it's all women in business, and any woman can come. It's definitely not a business conference. It's a place for us to recharge and know that we have each other and that there's room for everyone. And your dreams aren't too big. I mean, I am a standing testament to that. I grew up in a small town. My parents were poor. I went to college, put myself through college, failed several times, have moved across the country for my job, raised 3 children, have made failures in that, but have 3 awesome kids. And here I am today, an entrepreneur at age 52. And this wasn't the plan, but I do feel that God has my back 100%, and I trust him. And this week, I have 4 prospect meetings, and I got incredible. 2 clients yesterday.
Yay.
So I'm so excited. And now I'm like, okay, guns out, getting ready. So I love that you brought your vision board and that you've been able to remember the things that you put in there and that you've seen your growth. I think that's something we don't talk about a lot as women, is like, where were you? Where did you come? Where did you go? And what did you forget about that was a dream? Because we forget. We forget that we had a dream of going to Greece. We forget that we had a dream of having a cat. We forget that we had to have a dream of, being a foster parent or committing to a nonprofit or teaching religious education. Yes. I was telling my mom about that, and she's like, you remember we taught CCD? And I'm like, yes. And I was mortified because my parents taught it to teenagers. And so it was me and my classmates. And I was like, oh, for the love of all things holy, please make this not embarrassing.
Yes.
But I think back on it, and I think my parents were really good at it. They did good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that you brought that with you, and your story when we reconnected. I probably have never told you this, but I'll tell you today.
Okay.
So when we first connected the first time, you were single, and then you got into this relationship with this person who's your husband now, and he was older, and he had kids, and there were people that maybe thought that wasn't the right path. And you probably know that. They may not be your people now. And I was like, that was when Ignite had already formed. And I was really in this mantra of like, let's not talk shit. Okay. Everybody has their own journey, and that's okay. And I knew that we would always stay connected because of people that may not have understood the path and had their own decision about it. Because let's be honest, your husband wanted to have a wife. He wanted you to be his wife. His children have learned to love you as another mother. And now you guys are having a baby together, and that is a beautiful thing. And so it's not for us to decide the greatness of other people's journeys, but it is our job to show up for each other. And be there in their time when either they need us or they want to celebrate something. So I just want to share that with you, that I knew when you texted me or emailed me, whichever it was, and said, hey, let's get together. I was like, yes, no question.
Yeah.
And the journey of your life is your journey. And it's beautiful. And I've loved watching it. So you lose your job and you decide, you meet a few people and talk about some jobs and you decide, yeah, not for me. What did you do?
Yeah. Well, so I lost my job the day after coming back from leave after we had lost our baby and I had surgery.
So let's just take a pause on that and let me be clear. That is not okay. It is not okay for organizations, leaders to not understand the effect of that. And it actually happened to another woman that I know that I talked to last week. And she said that she had her baby. She came back to work and her baby got sick. And she was in the NICU and her leader called her and said, sorry, your baby's sick. We're putting you on a performance improvement plan.
Devastating.
Yes.
It's unimaginable.
There's no,
like,
yes, there is
can't put
no
words. Yeah.
There's no words for how terrible that is. And so I first want to apologize to that happened to you. Although I didn't have a direct impact, I do have a voice in making sure that it never happens to anyone else, and trust that voice is strong. But so you leave. Then what happened?
I leave.
Hold yourself together.
Yes, but the reason I brought that up with what we had gone through is that people looking from the outside in now might go, well, all of these great things are landing for you. But I did have to take an intentional pause to heal myself a little bit. Because it's
to accept what had happened and how you felt about it.
It was a lot of loss all at once. I never thought both of those things would happen.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to like just jump in and kind of rinse and repeat what I had gone through before, because I too feel the same way. I do not want to work with or for people who treat employees like that. I have a voice in it. So if I share my story and can advocate for others, it's an important part. So I wanted to make sure I felt really rooted and healed in that so I could bring it forward. But then fast forward, I realized, well, you're doing this consulting thing in your last role. There was no conflict of interest, but you had kind of taken a chance on yourself to do it. Why have you minimized it? Why didn't you launch anything? Why didn't you talk about it? So literally on my birthday, we launched the website. Pretty much did it very quietly because, as you know, the opinions of others are not really my business.
Yeah.
And most of the time, unless they're my people or my circle, I really kind of tune them out. So I didn't need a lot of feedback going into the launching of it. I knew what it was. I knew what I had done. I knew I didn't want to minimize myself anymore.
And nor should you ever again.
Yes, totally agree. Nor should any woman or any person really. So yeah, on my birthday, we launched Wright Healthcare Advisors, and it was very exciting. Definitely has given me an opportunity to be more confident in my own individual contributions. I always kind of shied behind, I was a member of that group doing it. Well, no, I was the leader of the group, making decisions, executing the strategy. So I did have to be clear with myself on what I was doing, what I had accomplished, where I was going, even though I had gone through this moment that depleted almost all of my special courage I used to bring to the beginning of my career.
Yes. So something happened over the last couple of days that makes me want to talk about this a little bit. So I launched the Kirsch Group. The Kirsch Group is an independent employee benefits brokerage. It has all the horsepower of everyone because it's led by me. And since the soft launch, I have had employers reach out to me saying, please help me. I have had people reach out to me saying, can I come work with you? 3 people have asked if they can work with me. We're not ready yet, but we're going to get there. But I've also had 2 people say to others, not to me, is she going to be big enough? Okay. And so I am meeting with my PR team next week to talk about that, because I like to be ahead of things. And the campaign to remind people of what you get with big versus what you get with focused is different.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So Kara Kirsch worked for big companies and delivered the same brilliant execution and strategy that I will deliver as part of the Kirsch group. The difference will be you will get more time with me, and I won't be stretched so thin, because I don't need to make $1 million. I want to make money. I want to have the comfort of my life that I have now. And if I make $1 million, trust, we're going to do something really big. But I want to do good work. I want people to say, if you work with Kara Kirsch, she's going to be standing right next to you. You will never get that from a big firm. They're going to bring lots of people in who know a little bit about everything, and they're going to piece it together. And that is not what the Kirsch Group is. And so I've started to think about how I don't minimize, because that's a reality for me. A lot of my relationships are with big companies, and those big companies are going to be targeted by my competition who are big. And they're going to be like, oh, Kara Kirsch is small. She's not going to be able to do the things that we can do. Au contraire, Kara Kirsch was delivering those same pieces of guidance within a large firm. Nothing changed. And so I'm excited about that, but I'm excited about breaking it down. And even today I posted on LinkedIn a post where I'm like, you know what? We're going to start talking about all the ways that employers are getting screwed by the big firms.
Because it's the reality.
100%.
It really is. And what I am so excited for is 2 things. I think people always got you, Kara, but they got you, Kara, through the big firm. You're going to get Kara full stop.
Yeah.
And I love Kara full stop. So I know everybody else is. There's going to be no more, hey, the client called up and they had extra questions from your interaction and I talked to them about it. Like, no, they're going to get to talk to you unfiltered.
Yes.
And get all of the support and benefits of the relationship with you.
Yes.
I'm so excited for that. And then I'm so excited for the opportunities, not only the close-knit, like you and I have talked about, how can I help you?
Yeah. And vice versa. How can I help
you? And we're probably going to land on something really unique that everybody wants.
Yes.
I just have that feeling.
Well, I listened to your voice text and I'm like, yes.
So I'm excited for those things too, because I know that whenever you set your mind to something, it's so brilliant with so much impact and it just ripples. It's not just like that interaction of ideas that you and I have been having about this. That's not just going to benefit us or the Kirsch Group. That could be a global sort of like cascading impact.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited for, because the other thing you get with Kara and you get through Ignite and building relationships and having your bucket filled is that you get that just like genuine, authentic support from another woman in business. You and I have talked about, we're in a season of kind of, I think, simplifying some things. I don't want to speak on your behalf.
Yeah, totally.
Relationships, interactions. And you and I have both had a similar situation where we went, I really respect that woman. I really value what has been in the past, but I'm not sure I need to take it on with me in the future.
Right.
And that's what I'm learning, is there can be those surface levels. Yes, I'll support you.
Yeah.
But then fast forward when you're launching your companies, the support dries up. So you got to find the people where the support isn't drying up, where it's the opposite, where it's like, how can we help each other?
Yeah.
What ideas do you have? How is it going personally for you?
That's right.
That night will help you find that too. Like, it clearly helped me find it.
Right. And so what you're talking about is sponsorship.
Yes.
And sponsorship, my friend Molly and I always joke, sponsorship isn't that you roll up to the bar and someone buys your drinks. That's not a sponsor. It is a sponsor, but not in the context that we're talking about. And sponsorship is this. And I want to be real clear about it, because we talk about it, but we don't teach about it. Okay. Sponsorship is, I'm with someone and they say, I work for a hospital and we're going through this challenge and we need a consultant. My response to them is, I know a consultant that does that. She's the best. Can I introduce you? That is sponsorship. For you, to me, that is, you're with someone and they say, man, I work for an employer and my coverage is so expensive. Or I'm the CEO and I'm sick of paying all these expenses. I know someone who can help you with that, and it's Kara Kirsch. So sponsorship is very clear. It's not a wishy-washy thing. And men sponsor really well.
Yes.
And women, we don't. And I've often wondered why we don't. And one of the things that I have come to believe is this, that we don't sponsor for fear that the woman might make a mistake. And so then the reputation is the problem that we're with. And let me be clear, men make mistakes all the time. And this is not a bashing session, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't let perfection be the enemy of good if you know someone's doing good work. And don't let that be the reason why you don't sponsor them.
Totally. I in my experience have noticed when the celebration time comes, because I've been in a year of lower than lows and higher than highs, in losing a job and launching my consultancy, as you can relate, where you are going to find out who those authentic sponsors are and who they aren't. Because
100%.
unfortunately, we do have some people who will, they'll connect, they'll like posts, they'll do those types of things. But then sometimes a moment comes where it's like, oh, you might be getting a little too close
Yeah.
to what my special thing is or how I'm achieving. And I'll be super frank, I don't have time for women like that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe, and it's probably rooted in my faith, that there's a spot for everybody.
There's room for everyone.
Space for everyone.
Yes.
We can all be really high achieving women doing really cool things personally and professionally. And just because you're doing it and I'm not at this moment in my life doesn't mean anything about me.
Yeah.
We can support everyone. So
Totally. I agree 100%. It's one of the mantras of Ignite.
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
There's room for everyone. And interestingly, I've encouraged a lot of my competition through the years to come because, if you think that I'm not for you, think again.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I do are creating a path for you to do. I had someone reach out to me this week. It wasn't a woman, but he said, I've been following you for years and your reputation is so good. He's like, you're everywhere and all these things. And I'm sitting there thinking, seriously? But it was very humbling, but it was very much needed on that day because the day before I'd been kicked in the teeth a little bit. And there'll be a lot of those days I anticipate, especially over the next 2 years while I work through, my non-solicit period. And it's going to be fine. But, it's hard.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you 100%. There is room for everyone. What are your thoughts on collaboration and mentorship? How do you seek mentorship? How do you give it? How do you collaborate?
Well, I don't remember where I picked this up, so credit is not mine for this being an original thought. However, I've definitely taken it and ran with it. I feel like you should have a professional board of advisors. I'm very clear on calling them advisors because one thing I had to learn pretty quickly in the last 5 years of my professional and personal life is that you can quickly become the mentor when you are the mentee. So I hate to label somebody my mentor because I don't want to always have the vibe that we can't be a partnership, or maybe we can't have like the old mentee giving advice to the mentor. So that's why I like board of advisors. And I really like to intentionally collect people that I know will stretch my mind, stretch my thought process, mostly not from the industry I'm in. I spent in a large amount of time volunteering at the Greater Omaha Chamber and other organizations, which gave me opportunity to meet people in insurance or in power, in construction. And I picked up so many unique things from those people, and they've blossomed into connections like this, where now you and I probably are more like colleagues than my colleagues were in January. And I appreciate that because I want that push, that diversity of thought, that uniqueness. That's another reason I decided to do the consulting thing is I know I want to do something different in the future, but I'm not quite clear and resolute on it yet, but it's giving me the opportunity to explore other things. So that's how I try to focus on collaboration.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I do think that it doesn't have to be defined. Relationship
True.
building doesn't have to be defined, but you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with someone reaching out to someone.
It does.
Okay?
Have the courage to take the
Yes.
first step, right?
Yes. You have nothing to lose. And I will say, and I say this a lot, 99% of the time I reach out to people, they respond. Now, sometimes their response is sure. And then I have to drive it. Sometimes their response is not right now. I'm busy right now. And I love that because I love a boundary. And sometimes it's, I might not be the right person. Tell me more about what you're looking for. Getting clarity, which I love that too, because it's an opportunity to protect your time, which is your most valuable asset. But I do think it goes both ways. You have things to learn. I have things to learn. You may know things about something where I may not know. And I think that going into new relationships like that is a really healthy thing. Because I don't know about you, but I want my relationships to be honest.
Totally. And authentic.
Yeah.
Please.
I don't need to have any more, oh, Kara, you're so great. I don't mean I don't need that.
Right.
But I also need people who are like, hey, think about this a little bit. Or, hey, I noticed that you did this and, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Sort of not a check, but someone who has your back all around and wants to question you so that you can come to the best part of yourself.
Right. They're elevating you. They see something that they can help with. And you did the same for me. I remember at our last coffee, it was like, hey, why don't you just switch this up? You don't have to give your energy in that way. And I was like, oh, yeah, I really don't. Like, I can move on from that. I'm with you. Like,
We have choices on
want
everything we do.
totally. And I want people around me to push me. And to go back to the mentor-mentee thing, if I would have sat down with my 2018, 2019 self, I would say, I want Kara to be my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized when we met in February that it changed a lot of my mindset and perspective. In a moment where I felt so deflated and defeated, and just all the things that can get wrapped up in losing your job that's associated with your career and your achievements and part of who you are, I remember you saying, hey, I could use your advice on something. And that shift brought me so much respect to fill my bucket. I just think it's such an honor when someone that you have looked up to, aspired to, just had a lot of respect for, can humanize themselves in that way and create, like, again, in an authentic relationship. Because I want to be the person that's 52 doing da-da-da-da-da, right? And has the ability to say, you know what, you might have navigated this better than me, even though you're 20 years younger than I am with less career experience. What do you think? So I don't know. I just think as women, we get worried about being that vulnerable. But that's my point. Go find your trusted board. Figure out those
and you're going to
people.
know who they are real quick.
You
'Cause
will,
the
and you
minute
better
you
listen
ask-
to the messages.
Correct. Believe who they are when they show you, because if you ask them something and they are coveted or protected about it, not your people. And it's happened to me where I've been like, hey, you started this, how did you get it going? Can you hang on a minute? I've got another call.
Yeah. That
Like,
happened to me when I was launching
not as
stuff in
bold as
January.
that, but a little bit.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
oh, hey, sorry, I'm just about to go into a meeting. Can I call you back? Never calls you back. And that's a message.
It is. You
Because
better
if it was
listen
important to them, they would call you back. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
Where do you want to see your business in the next 5 years? I know that you're, coming into a journey of motherhood and, well, the second journey of motherhood, I should say, because I have so much admiration for women that love children that either come to them through a new relationship or as foster children or anything. And so you've got the second season of motherhood that you're getting into, and you're getting started from zero, which before you didn't. Tell me a little bit about, what your life is going to look like through the next period, and what do you dream it to be in 5 years? Because your little person will be getting ready to go to kindergarten.
Yes, which is wild to think about.
But don't send him till they're 6. Just advice, friendly advice.
Yeah, with February, he'll be 5.5. So it'll be that perfect sweet spot.
Yeah. So wait.
Yes. I've intentionally avoided this question so much in my life because I never, if you would have asked me 5 years ago and said, your life's going to look like this, Kelsey, are you ready? I would have said, heck no. But then I wouldn't have had the special relationships, had the growth moments,
Totally.
had the clarity. So I hope the consultancy serves my family. So much of myself, my spouse, our kids, they wouldn't maybe recognize this, but for a while served my professional career.
And so your oldest child is how old?
16.
So in 5 years, he'll be, is it a he?
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 21.
Yeah.
And so think about that. Like, you know, that's a whole different ballgame too.
It is.
Now we're
because
talking about in college, or if they go to trade school, they're done, they're working.
Mhm.
I only say trade school because we need trades so dearly. And my son, TJ, is very much about the trades. And we don't talk about it enough as parents. And I feel like as parents, you get a little shamed when your kids don't go to 4-year school.
Yeah.
And so I try to break that down a little bit. I had someone say to me once, well, my son's going to Metro. And I was just like, awesome. Like,
Yeah.
first of all,
What's
they're
he doing there?
saving money. They're, getting some of the college experience. I love that.
Mhm.
Like, there's so many good things. And we are so rich in resource here in Nebraska with not only university systems that are awesome and private schools that are awesome, but also trade schools.
Yeah.
And I love that so much. So 5 years.
5 years. Yeah. I really hope my career is serving my family because I know I'll serve my career.
Absolutely. No question.
There's no question in that. So I want to make sure we can show up for
Yeah.
our young adult who's trying to figure out, like, am I going to buy a house? Am I going to rent? What am I going to do?
Totally.
And then being able to go, first day of kindergarten, not feeling guilty that I have to miss something and not be there. So I really want to make that sort of shift. I don't know that I have intentionality around, like, this is my growth numbers and here's where I want it to be. But I do want to feel like I want to be in 5 years where I know myself. I feel like I'm kind of re-going through that process again.
And how old are you again, can I ask?
33.
Yeah, so yesterday I was with someone that was 32, and I was like, 20 years younger than me, basically. And the age of, my daughter's 28.
Mhm.
So I just think that the 20s are hard. The 30s are a little bit better.
Yeah.
The 40s get really much better. And so in the 30s, one thing that I'm committed to is just being there for women who need someone, because it's not an easy time.
Yeah, you're like not quite young, but you're not
Yeah.
quite like as
Not
seasoned as
seasoned.
people want you to be.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I really
And when you
hope.
say things like, oh, I'm an expert, they're like, mm-hmm.
Right, and you're like, no, actually I am.
Correct.
Like,
Right.
just because I don't have someone said it so nicely in this whole career exploration, application type of journey that I've been on, that there's a difference between experience and experiences. I am rich in experiences. So when I tell you I'm very seasoned in something or experienced in it, it might not because the years are 15, 17, 20, 25, 30, but I've jam-packed those experiences to push myself in such a level of growth that you're going to get the same thing as someone who's done it for 25 years versus my 15.
Absolutely.
And I hope
Absolutely.
people can be open-minded to that.
Yeah.
Because both are very valuable in different ways.
Yeah.
You don't want to discount either one.
I agree 100%. 100%. Well, I knew our time would go fast.
Yeah.
And I just have loved having you here, and I've loved the recharge of our relationship. And I'm so excited for baby because I'm a great Cece. My grandson calls me Cece, so I'll be your baby Cece.
Yay. I love that.
And all that means basically is that you get to go to the spa and I get to hold the baby while you do that.
I'm down for that.
And also your baby might be eating candy for breakfast someday.
That's fine.
But let's just do a couple rapid fire questions. So favorite book right now?
Ooh, favorite book right now. It's super practical. It's ACOG's Pregnancy by Month.
Oh,
Sometimes it's not the... I've had a really hard time getting back into fiction after doing my doctoral degree.
Okay. Well, so I never used to do fiction. And I would say I got more into fiction in the last 5 years. And really, I was inspired by my cousin because that's all she reads.
Mhm.
She purposely separates, she does so much research and reading in her job that she was like, I can't do that in my off time.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to me. And so if I have to, I will. But she reads fiction. And so I just got done with The Winter Garden.
Ah, okay.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And it was a long, like 20 hours of listening.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I also need to listen more.
I listen on my lips at
and I
home.
kind of minimize this. Like, when people are like, what are you reading? Well, I can listen to what I'm reading.
Yeah.
But my mind has said, no, you have to physically read it.
No. When I say, what are you reading? It's what are you listening to?
Yeah.
How about your favorite motto?
I would probably say lead with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And like, show who you are. I knew our time would go fast too, and I've really worked through, like, with my coach, what my values are, what my mission is, what my vision is, and I've crafted it into a mathematical equation.
Give it to me.
And so for me, it's my 3 values are community, authenticity, and integrity. And those are in brackets, and next to it is courage. And the courage is my mission. Like, I've got to lead with heart, and that takes a lot of courage to do that authentically, with integrity, and in a broad community. And after the equal sign is impact, because that's what my vision is to have that positive outward flowing impact, even if it's a drip of water or a big wave. I want it to go beyond just me and even beyond the people I get to work with. Like, let's do something huge for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, building community is something that I'm working through. And so you're in my community, obviously, and I'm in yours. Thank you. And so the more community we can build to break down some of the barriers and stigmas and reasons why, whatever that is, I think that's a good thing. How can listeners connect with you?
Oh, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I like to mix my personal and professional personas. So if you find me on Instagram, you find me on Facebook, we can also connect those ways. And if you see me and this resonated with you, please don't hold it back. I don't care if I'm running around and with a ball cap on and trying to coordinate all the things with my family. Like, I want to know and have that type of connection with people. And that's the one big lesson through this year is, like, don't let your relationships dry up, because they're so important. So if anything that I can do can help you or has had an impact or has resonated, I will take the time to connect with you on it, because that's just so special. And I'm sure there's something you can bring to me that's going to be
100% agree. 100% agree. And one thing that I talk a lot about, because you said it here today, so I'll say it again, is you said don't let your relationships dry up. And if you do,
yes,
don't be afraid to water them again, because the beauty of growth is that there's always seeds under the surface, and you never have to worry about, well, I didn't take care of those seeds. Will they grow again? They will. And you'll find people that you thought were your seeds, and maybe they've moved to a different season of their life. And maybe they'll introduce you to someone that you didn't know, or maybe you'll meet someone new. Don't be afraid to rewater, because as women, I think especially, we don't have the luxuries sometimes that our male colleagues have, whether they're in a situation where they have a stay-at-home wife or, they have more time at some times to develop and nurture their relationships. And as women, we go through these periods of our life, motherhood, pregnancy. So I had terribly hard pregnancies, and I definitely wasn't like, let me nurture my network. I'm barely not throwing my food up. And then you get to a young season of motherhood. And I had a female colleague who said to me, she had just come back to work and everything was great right before she came back, and then baby stopped sleeping. And I could tell one day that she was not okay. And I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm so tired. And I'm like, go take a nap. I got you.
Yeah.
Forward any emails to me.
Yeah.
Because every woman has that. And my point in saying that is, like, just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid if you haven't nurtured your network to nurture it now. It's never too late.
It is never too late, and it's so important to do so.
Yeah. Well, I am so grateful for you. I'm so blessed to have you in my life. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an entrepreneur. Thank you for letting me be a CC again. And thank you for your friendship. You're a beautiful, beautiful person. And I'm so very lucky to be sitting across from your greatness. So don't ever let your greatness be questioned by anyone.
Deal. Yeah, thank you so much. Last time we connected, I was just so honored by the friendship we're building and so grateful to God that we are where we're at now. So you were much more eloquent in it, but thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, for everybody who's listening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified of new episodes and go into the world and show your greatness to everyone. And thanks for listening today. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon, Kelsey.
See ya.